All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. It is that time of the week, folks. My weekly picks in the world of the National Football League. Now, week number 4 was not that good to me, up and down. Didn't get things started on the right foot here in week number 5 as I picked the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to go on the road this past Thursday night and get the 27-23 victory. However, it was a close game as I expected, but the Chicago Bears found a way to get the victory at home. Now, with that said, there are some good games on tap for tomorrow, as well as 2 for Monday night and 1 on Tuesday. And with that said, here are my picks for week number 5 in the 2020 NFL season. I'm going to start things off with an NFC South battle, as you're going to have the 2-2 Carolina Panthers traveling to take on the winless Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta comes into this contest favored by 1 point at home. So basically, when you hear that, you know that this is a toss-up. The Falcons, what can you say? They've had some very hard luck as they've been in a lot of games, but they have been unable to get over the hump. However, I don't see this team under head coach Dan Quinn and quarterback Matt Ryan quitting. You look at this Carolina Panthers team for first-year head coach Matt Rule. They lost their first 2 contests. They've come back and won their last 2, and now they are starting to get some confidence under them, and they feel like they can be contenders in this NFC South race. I think this is a contest where the more desperate team wins. I think that is going to be Atlanta, and I'm going to take the Falcons at home by the score of 31-24. Now, in the AFC West, you're going to have the undefeated Kansas City Chiefs hosting the 2-2 Las Vegas Raiders. Now, for the Raiders, they won their first 2 contests of the season before they got a reality check in the last 2 weeks. They went on the road and lost to the New England Patriots, and then they lost at home this past Sunday versus the Buffalo Bills. Now, what do you get for a topping on top of that? You have to go on the road and take on the defending Super Bowl champions. And you look at Kansas City, they are taking everybody's best shot at them because teams know you're not going to be able to score points with Kansas City. So what do you have to do? You have to keep them on the sidelines, their offense. And you do that by being able to run the football effectively and shorten the game. That is going to be the key for the Raiders in this contest. Will they be able to run the football effectively on the ground and keep that Kansas City offense on the sidelines? Because if they're not, the Raiders simply don't have the pass defense needed to stop Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes. You think about these teams, they are long storied rivals for 60 years now, and the Raiders are going to give the Chiefs everything that they can handle. However, I do not see it as being enough, as I'm going to take Kansas City at home in this contest by the score of 34-24. Now, at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey, you're going to have the winless New York Jets hosting the 2-2 Arizona Cardinals. Arizona comes into this contest favored by 7.5 points for a variety of reasons. First and foremost, the Jets have had a lot of issues this week dealing with COVID-19. And on top of that, the Jets simply are not a good football team. Now, Arizona got off to a strong start. They won their first 2 games and they lost their last 2. And for the Cards, they got to get back on track. Why? Because this NFC West arguably could be the toughest division in the NFL this season. Joe Flacco is expected to start at quarterback for the Jets as Sam Darnold is out with a shoulder injury. But plain and simple, the talent is not there, and the Cardinals have to take advantage of that. Thus, I'm going to take Arizona on the road by the score of 27-17. Now, in the Quaker State, you're going to have the 1-2-1 Philadelphia Eagles traveling west to take on the 3-0 Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, Pittsburgh comes into this contest favored by a touchdown, and they are fresh off of their bye week as their game last week with the Tennessee Titans was postponed. But you look at the Steelers team, they have Big Ben Roethlisberger back under center at quarterback this season, and it has been the boost that this offense needs. The Steelers' defense is the top, if not the top, one of the top in the NFL this season. And you're talking about going up against a quarterback in Carson Wentz, who has been shaky at best so far this season for this Eagles offense. I think the Eagles did get some momentum for themselves last week in getting their first win of the season, but it's not going to be enough going up against Pittsburgh on the road. Thus, I'm going to take the Steelers by the score of 31-20. 30. Now you're going to have the 1-3 Washington football team hosting the 3-1 Los Angeles Rams. Los Angeles comes into this game favored by a touchdown after they were able to get back on track with a close win at home last week versus the New York Giants. And the Rams know they got to go out there and take care of business. You look at this Rams defense led by Aaron Donald, and when they are on, they can get after anybody and they can make life tough for any quarterback in the NFL. And I think they get that done in this game. Jared Goff, he's been up and down at quarterback so far this season for the Rams as he has been riding the coattails of this defense. But I think this is the game right here where things might begin to come together a little bit more for the Rams on offense. It's a situation for the Rams. They're favored by a touchdown in this game, and I think they're going to win the turnover battle by at least 2. And I think that's going to be the difference in this contest. So I'm going to take the Rams on the road by the score of 34-17. Now in the AFC North, you're going to have the 3-1 Baltimore Ravens hosting the 2-1 Cincinnati Bengals. And for Baltimore, they come into this contest favored by 12 points. And you look at what they can do with this offense led by quarterback Lamar Jackson. It's going to be key for the Ravens to get their running game going early in order to set up that play action passing. But make no mistake about it, you look at the Bengals record, and it's a situation where the Ravens cannot overlook this team for a variety of reasons. Divisional games are always the toughest to win in the NFL. And then on top of that, it's a situation with the Cincinnati Bengals team with their young head coach in Zach Taylor and their rookie quarterback in Joe Burrow. They're going to fight, scrap, and claw and give you everything that you can handle for 60 minutes. So the Ravens definitely are going to have to strap in and in order to get this victory. They're favored by 12 points. I'm going to take the under in this contest. I'm going to take Baltimore at home by the score of 30-20. Now in the AFC South, you're going to have the winless Houston Texans hosting the 1-3 Jacksonville Jaguars. And it's been a tough week for the Texans as they fired Bill O'Brien as their head coach and general manager. Now it's going to be on interim head coach Romeo Crennel to try to salvage something of this 2020 season for the Texans. Make no mistake about it, the Texans have talent led by quarterback Deshaun Watson, but it simply has not come together this year. And for the Jacksonville Jaguars, they're looking to try to stay up in this AFC South race, and they don't want to fall any further behind the Tennessee Titans or the Indianapolis Colts. So this is definitely going to be a tough and important contest for them. But I think it's one of those situations, who's more desperate? And I'm going to take Houston in this one at home by the score of 30-27. Now, moving out west, you're going to have the 2-2 San Francisco 49ers hosting the 1-3 Miami Dolphins. And for San Francisco, a tough loss at home last week with backup quarterbacks, and that was a difference in this game. The 49ers have been dealing with a litany of injuries so far this season, and I don't see the Miami Dolphins trying to feel sorry for them in this contest. Miami is the underdog by 9 points, but they're going to put up a fight with veteran quarterback Ryan Fitzpatrick, and they want to try to establish that line of scrimmage. And most importantly, they have to find a way to be as physical as the 49ers have been over the past couple of years. It's a situation for San Fran. They're still dealing with injuries and they're starting to get some guys back, but I think the second consecutive home game will be a difference for them. They're going to have to work for it, but I'm going to see San Francisco with the 27-24 edge. Now, it's going to be the 3-1 Cleveland Browns hosting the 3-1 Indianapolis Colts. And call me crazy, but this right here could be a potential playoff preview. You look at what the Colts have been doing this season. You have a solid defense. Veteran quarterback Phillip Rivers has been stout as well, and they're going up against a Cleveland Browns team that is really flying high, especially after their big victory on the road last week versus the Dallas Cowboys. Now, Cleveland was able to run the football last week at roughshod versus Dallas. That is not going to be the case tomorrow because you look at what this Colts defense can do. So it's not going to be easy. However, Cleveland's bread and butter so far this season has been their running game because it has been setting up their play action passing. So it's going to be imperative for the Browns to try to do that. But again, like I said, not going to be as easy versus this Colts defense. I think this is going to be a back and forth affair, and this has the makings to be the best game of all of the games tomorrow. And I'm going to take the Browns at home by the score of 30-24. Now in Arlington, you're going to have the 1-3 Dallas Cowboys hosting the winless New York Football Giants. And for Dallas, they come into this game favored by 8.5 points. And I want to see how desperate Dallas is. They're 1-3 right now, but luckily for their sake, they still play in the NFC East, which is the worst division in the NFL. You look at the Giants, they play hard, but they simply don't know how to win. A lot of young guys on this team are still trying to figure it out. They don't have any separation at wide receiver, and that's making it even tougher for a young quarterback in Daniel Jones who's trying to get his feet under him. You look at Dallas. Dallas does have some injuries on their offensive line, but you still have Dak Prescott at quarterback, and we've seen what he can do passing this season. And Dallas's defense has been the problem. We saw this Cleveland Browns offense simply murder this Cowboys defense last Sunday. And it's a situation for Dallas. They've got to try to find a way to get over that. They've got to go out there and play more disciplined football. And on top of that, they have to go out there with a nastiness and an attitude because they are simply better on paper than the Giants. But the bottom line is if Dallas allows the Giants to hang around in this game, they could be in for a long Sunday afternoon. However, I feel that the Cowboys are desperate. They know that they got to try to find a way to get on track. And I think it starts tomorrow with a 32-19 victory at home versus Big Blue. Now, one Sunday night, you're going to have the undefeated Seattle Seahawks hosting the 1-3 Minnesota Vikings. And for Seattle, they come into this contest favored by a touchdown. You look at quarterback Russell Wilson. He's arguably playing the best football of his career as he really does look like the front runner to be the MVP of the NFL in 2020. What can you say about the Vikings? They finally got on track last week and got their first victory of the season on the road versus the Houston Texans, but things have gone south for this team real quick. The Vikings are not as stout as they have been on defense in recent years, and it's showing. And if they can't get it together, if they can't put some pressure on Russell Wilson and the Seahawks offense, they could be in for a long Sunday night in the Pacific Northwest. I see the Vikings in chase position from the start, and that is going to be their detriment as I'm going to take the Seahawks at home by the score of 34-24. Now, the first game on Monday night, you're going to have the 2-2 New England Patriots hosting the 1-3 Denver Broncos. And for New England, they played last Monday night due to a postponement due to COVID, and they lost versus the Kansas City Chiefs. But, you know, New England, they were dealing with a lot of issues. No Cam Newton, first and foremost, at quarterback. Now, New England, they have one of the best defenses in the NFL. And for all of you fantasy buffs out there, if you've got the Patriots defense, this is a game to start them. Why? Because I don't see this Denver Broncos offense being able to get a lot done versus this stout Patriots defense. Now, for New England on offense, it's going to be imperative. Don't make mistakes. You play within the realm of the offense, and you'll go out there and get it done. It won't be pretty for New England on offense, but I think they're going to lean back on field position, and most importantly, the stout defense to lead them to the 24-17 victory. Now, the second Monday night game, you're going to have the 1-3 Los Angeles Chargers traveling to the Bayou to take on the 2-2 New Orleans Saints. Now, the Saints come into this contest favored by 8.5 points, and for a defense that has been up and down so far this season, I think they get their sea legs under them in this one. Why? Because I see the Saints defense led by Will Smith up front being able to make life tough for the rookie at quarterback for the Chargers in Justin Herbert. The Chargers defense, when they're on, they're on, and when they're off, they're off. So it's going to be important to see which type of effort that we're going to get from this Chargers defense going up against this Saints offense and quarterback Drew Brees. The Chargers will play tough, but the Saints are simply the better team. I'm going to take New Orleans at home by the score of 31-24. And finally, on Tuesday night, you're going to have the undefeated Buffalo Bills traveling to Nashville to take on the undefeated Tennessee Titans. Of course, this game was postponed, and for the Titans, they had their bye week last week due to COVID issues against the Pittsburgh Steelers. So for Tennessee, they want to try to get that momentum back that they've had to start the season, and it starts with their running game with Derrick Henry as he sets things up for play action with quarterback Ryan Tannehill. We know what the Titans can do on offense, but make no mistake about it, the Buffalo Bills are one of the better defensive teams in football. And the icing on the cake so far this season for Buffalo is that their young quarterback Josh Allen is starting to do things in the pocket with his arm. This is going to be one of the best games, not only of this week, but also of the season. I want to see the first team to blink in this one because field position and turnovers are going to be super important, as this game is definitely going to have a playoff feel. It would not surprise me to see both the Bills and Titans meet again in January in the postseason. That's how good they are. Both of them have Super Bowl aspirations, and most importantly, the first team to make 20 points or get to 20 points in this contest will win. I'm going to take Buffalo on the road by the score of 24-20. So folks, those are my picks for week number 5 here in the NFL season. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to thank all you fine fans out there for liking and subscribing to this podcast. And if you have not already, please feel free to do at this time. Now, if you're on Twitter, you're more than welcome to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. You can check it out, drop a line, and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin. Take care, have yourselves a wonderful day, and enjoy the NFL action this weekend.